meeting. My name is Jim Holcomb. I have the pleasure of serving as the chair. And we call this meeting to order here a little after 4 o'clock on Wednesday, November 6th, 2024. Welcome, everybody who's in attendance in the gallery. Amy, it's good to see you. Fantastic. We'll start with roll call.
Joanna Daniels.
Erica Grella. Jackie Wilbur.
Kaylee Wilson.
Perfect. And again, Jim Holcomb. Fantastic. I'd like to now ask Erica to lead our invocation.
Lord, we want to thank you so much for today, and thank you for this time that we do get to just serve you and serve the people. And Lord, I pray that you will guide our words and guide our hearts even, and good and thorough evaluation with Amy, and we thank you for today. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Next up is the approval of the agenda. Everybody was given a copy of that.
I would like to actually amend the agenda to new business to schedule the evaluation for Warren. B under new business.
Okay.
Motion to accept the agenda as amended.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
Jackie Wilbur seconds. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Fantastic. All right, that takes us to public recognition. Gang, we've got 3 people here to speak. Each will be given 3 minutes. That's cool. For the sake of time, I think. Yeah, we'll let you know when that's up. So we'll call you forward. Please come up here, state your name and residence, and you'll have 3 minutes. Say anything you like about anything that's on our agenda. Great. So with that, Megan Sanderson is up first.
Hi. I am Megan Sanderson in Gillespie, Tennessee. I did write my photograph on the paper.
Gotcha. Cool.
I have 2 library cards in Sumner County. I know I've said that a couple of times. I worked at Portland for a number of years, and when I left to have my baby, I thought that I'd bring her up to Portland because they're family, but it ended up being Millersville that we spend most of our time at. Millersville is definitely our home. For me, my daughter, and my husband. My husband's not a huge reader. He's not a library goer, but I can tell him that I want to go to the Millersville Library on a Tuesday night, and he's game. That's where they have their dad or daughter dates on Saturday mornings. So I just want to let you know, like, how important the library and Amy is to our family. I know you have some kids. Definitely visit Millersville since she has taken over. They have some beautiful, beautiful spaces in the children's area. I really like this library because not all libraries you can just kind of exist. You kind of get the book and go. But she's really created a beautiful area in the kids area where you can just sit and it's cozy and you can exist. I really like how, since she's become manager, she's made a lot of community connections. She's worked with the police department, fire department. I know she has commissioners on the Friends of the Library, which I'm a member of. I don't go to all those meetings because I'm not fun. But she has some local business owners on the Friends group as well. So I think that's really awesome. Millersville, I would say, is a food desert. They lost the grocery store. I don't know how long ago. There is no food there, and I know Amy's kind of made it one of her missions, even as a librarian, not just to be about the books, but to do a lot with food. They have a blessing box there right now. I can tell that she's talked to the patrons that use the blessing box because I asked her, I'm like, what can I put in this box? And she knew, very specifically. So she talks to the commissioner, she talks to the people that use this blessing box. She's worked with schools as well, not just focus on literacy initiatives, food initiatives as well. Okay, and I guess the last thing is they've outgrown their space too. I don't know if you guys have gone to any of the summer reading programs. My little one doesn't like big crowds, so we haven't gone to all of them. But Millersville is a very tiny building, and for a while I thought that was kind of just an appropriate space for Millersville, but they've had to expand to the community center just because she's bringing in so many families from the community, and she has so many great programs, and I love the books she buys.
Thank you, Megan. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Next will be Dustin Durnall.
Hey, I'm Dustin Darnold. I'm a Millersville resident, and this will be one of the few times anybody sees me read from script. But there were some things I did not want to leave out, so I typed it up. I'm a father of a 7th grade White House Middle School daughter, and father of a 9th grader at White House High School. I'm a husband of a wife that has a doctorate of education. Our family loves Millersville Library. When my children were younger, they participated in several of the programs at the library. My children became addicted to the summer reading program that's put on there each year. This helped them prevent the learning loss through the summer, to help them be prepared for the next year. Millersville Library is always clean. The children's program around the year is awesome. While my children have become a little bit too old for some of the programs, neighbors that my children are friends with are younger and use it regularly. They're all age appropriate. They involve families. They're curated around a theme every time. Amy this week visited the Millersville Commission work session that took place on Monday, and there she said that the Millersville participation is growing. I believe she said at 92% rate, which is incredible for our community. She hosts a blessing box there at the library. We have a large population of underserved people, and that's a great asset to our community. For adults, the library is always willing to order new books or get it on loan if there's something that's not available. Amy announced at the Millersville Commission meeting that she's helping with resume building and conducting mock interviews to help our community gain employment. I believe I can speak for many, probably most in town, when I say that we love the library and we love Miss Amy. The library is a jewel in Millersville, and we're very lucky to have this asset. Good libraries don't happen by accident. They don't happen under poor leaders. Good libraries are good libraries because they're intentional and they have good leadership. Amy, you're a blessing in Millersville. We need to protect her at all costs.
All right, next up, Megan Powell.
My name is Megan Powell, 1098 Langley Drive, Phillipsville, or Millersville, whatever you want to call it. I am also the president of Library Friends at Millersville, which took over in January. And a little bit of our story, my husband was military. We have an 8-year-old son who is autistic and absolutely loves our library. That is the one place he will walk in by himself and feel right at home. But because he was a military brat, we've been in a lot of libraries. We've been in libraries in Washington, D.C., we've been in the Library of Congress, we've been in libraries in Texas, we've been in most of the libraries in Sumner County. And I can tell you the only one that I've never seen. I jumped in because I've never seen one like Millersville. The staff that Amy has put together is one of a kind, and they are driven so passionately to make it better. And to see in less than 2 years that we've lived there, we came back 3 years ago, we settled in Millersville 2 years ago. And to see in the 2 years from we would pull into the only car in the parking lot to now you can drive by any time in that parking lot is full. One of the greatest moments that I have had with the library was getting a text from Amy on a Wednesday morning of there are 100 and something people here for our fall resident. Knowing the hard work that Amy had poured into that event, and then to know that in the middle of Millersville, that is Millersville, were 100 and something people who had come not from just Millersville, they came from Phillipsville, they came from Hendersonville, they came from all over our county for one program because of what Amy has put together. Amy challenges her staff but she's also great about saying, take it and run with it. And I've got to watch them run with so much that has been a success and has grown. So we are just thankful for her and what she has brought into our community. We always say, her saying is that they are the heart of Millersville. And I and my family, and as you have heard from others here, can testify to that.
Awesome. Thanks, Meg. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate you. Next up would be the approval of the October 30th, 2024 minutes. Oh, should I give them all away?
We've got
For
Daniel.
everybody.
Yeah, there's.
So,
go ahead.
yeah. There are no corrections. I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Also moved.
So moved. Is there a second? Second. Motion made and seconded to approve the minutes from October 30th, 2024. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Who's the second?
Me.
Erica? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Minutes are approved. All right, moving to old business. One item under old business, and that's the director evaluation policy. As discussed at the last meeting, I think we all had some concerns surrounding the current process for the director evaluations. We said we would noodle this through, see if we couldn't, if we didn't have any thoughts on improving this process. So we'll go ahead and open that for discussion. Yeah.
I also, I know we were looking at the whole policy. There was another thing that I wanted to address with this, and that is under communication tools, it says the library director self-survey. Self-survey will be given to the library director no later than 30 days prior to the set evaluation date of the library director. I move that we move that to like 2 weeks beforehand. I don't, it's not a crazy evaluation. No later than 2 weeks.
14 days?
14 days, yes.
Okay.
14 days.
Yeah, that can cause a pretty lengthy chain
And
reaction to scheduling.
then the self-survey to be completed and returned to the chair of the personnel committee no later than, 7 days?
Sure.
7 days prior to the set evaluation. A date for the library director, the chair of the personnel committee will be sure to give the finished self-survey to the personnel committee members before the set evaluation date for the library director.
I'll just read that.
Sure.
We'll provide the
Okay,
finished.
we'll provide.
Yeah, we'll provide this.
We'll provide.
Provide the finished self-survey to the personnel committee members
Provide
before the set evaluation date.
the finished self-survey to the personnel committee members before the set evaluation date for the library director.
Any other thoughts on communication tools? Okay. Evaluation process?
As I stated in September and at the first personnel committee meeting, I believe this should be conducted one-on-one. And this is where, again, and I'll reiterate, in some of the other evaluation policies, it's generally the chair of that committee or of the board. I think that allows for consistency. However, there's not a lot of counties like ours that have 5 libraries,
Right.
So it could be as appointed by the chair, or it could be the chair or a person appointed by the chair to conduct it. So, but I believe it should be one-on-one, and those findings brought to the personnel committee to review, and then, those findings then brought to the library board.
Right, the library, those findings come to the personnel committee first, yeah?
Correct.
And then, once the evaluation is approved, then it would go before the full library board.
For any deliberation and for the final adoption of the evaluation. That's my thought.
Just to agree with what I think the one-on-one by the chair of personnel or
Somebody
or
designated
or
it all.
chosen by.
The chair. So if you can't get around to all of them in a certain amount of time,
Yeah.
then you can just say, you know, can somebody,
Someone from the personnel.
personnel committee do
Right.
that? And, I would like that to start first of the year.
Yeah.
Since we get, and go ahead and get Lawrence in December, as we're gonna work on scheduling that, and do it this way, so they've all been evaluated the same way, and start this in the new year.
Well, if this gets ratified in November, this would be the policy moving forward. I would give Laura the option, you know,
So, as long as she has the option to say, I want it like everybody else, you know, to look at it fairly. Or if she chooses to have that, then you could definitely,
Although,
or you could, you know, you could do it now.
if this gets ratified by the full board next week, then there wouldn't be an option. It would be our bylaw. So we wouldn't have, right?
Yeah, I mean, and,
Yeah, we can't pick and choose the application of our bylaws then.
well, our policy is, so, I mean, you know, again, policies ebb and flow, and in my opinion, you know, if it's adopted, then it should go into immediate effect.
Yeah.
That's my thought. She just happens to be the new person that gets the new things, such as when we adopted this policy, you know, I didn't have a stat survey. So
Right.
that's my thoughts is once it's adopted, it's just adopted. And
Yeah.
she just,
That has to be, if this gets ratified by the full board, and I think it's important to look at why we're here. As we see this evaluation process in practice, I'm not sure anybody's really happy with it. So I don't know why we would continue if we've chosen to amend that process. So, any other thoughts?
I agree.
Okay, we have a commitment. All right.
that's my thoughts.
All right. So as we currently have it, looking under communication tools, we'd be changing the survey will be given to the library director no later than 14 days prior, then moving down, and return to the chair of the personnel committee no later than 7 days prior to the set evaluation date for the library director. Chair of the personnel committee will then provide the finished self-survey to the personnel committee members before the set evaluation date for that library director. The evaluation process will work like this. The library director evaluation will be conducted by a member of the personnel committee as appointed by the chair. Those findings are then brought to the personnel committee for discussion before approval by the full library board of trustees.
One other thing
Yep.
is, I don't know if you want to put in here that the date is set by the chair or whoever's doing the evaluation.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Because it's not,
Yeah.
this would have been the personnel committee setting the date, and now it's going to be the person doing the one-on-one.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's in the evaluation process.
Yeah, I would say, the evaluation date shall be set by the person appointed to do the one-on-one with the director. That way it's between them two.
Would that need to come between, and is that a new sentence, are you saying a
What
new
is
sentence
that? Yeah.
between
Under evaluation
personnel
process.
committee
Yeah.
and then completed evaluations, is it gonna be like right there? Because then it would come to the library board next regularly. That wordage would stay the same, right? It needs to come in between those.
Okay.
It would be
Yeah.
under
Where would it come?
evaluation
Could
process,
be-
not in communications. It would
Right.
be in
Right.
evaluation
The
process.
eval will be established by.
So we need a sentence in there after the one-on-one. It has to be presented to the personnel committee and then to the board. Does that need to, or does it go from the one-on-one evaluation? Because the next sentence says it'll be presented to the chair of, the chair will present it to the library board, completed
Right,
evaluation.
I'm not reading any of the printed stuff that, is here, so.
Are you just rewriting it from the,
Yeah,
okay.
right.
All right.
And the process would work, the library director evaluation will be conducted by a member of the personnel committee as appointed by the chair. The date of the evaluation will be established by the person appointed by the chair. Those findings are then brought to the personnel committee for discussion before approval by the full library board of trustees.
And do you want to state in there who presents the findings? Or generally it's just the chair
I
of
would say,
the committee?
yeah.
Because as we, moving forward, you know, when I'll put report from personnel committee and report from, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the chair of the respective committees would likely make the.
Sure.
Right.
Sounds good to me.
And then if discussion is needed or anything like that.
Yep,
Yeah.
things get open for discussion at that time.
Mhm.
And there's two opportunities for discussion then, you know, the personnel committee, to amend or to ask insight, to get clarification on things, and then that final eval will be presented, you know, as marked up to the full board.
In your wording of what you just were saying,
Just saying.
does it include one-on-one?
What's it?
By a member
Okay,
of.
that's what I was just,
Yeah.
okay.
Do we need to clarify that it is, that the one-on-one is not a public meeting? Because that way it's, you know, the one-on-one
Because it's not a meeting.
is not, will not be held in public,
Not a public forum.
and will not be in a public forum.
Right.
Because it's not violating sunshine law.
If it's one-on-one, it doesn't.
Correct.
And then when we bring the findings, that's a public meeting, so they're,
Yeah, because it'll be a
Yeah.
personnel committee. That's implied.
well, if it's implied, it's that the person, I don't think you'd have to say that because if it's implied public meeting, then it's applied one-on-one, it's not. I don't think
It currently doesn't
Yeah.
read one-on-one, so
Yeah.
we'll add that sentence in there.
Yeah.
All right. As it reads now, the library director evaluation will be conducted by a member of the personnel committee as appointed by the chair. This shall be a one-on-one meeting. The date of the evaluation will be established by the person appointed by the chair. Those findings will then be brought to the personnel committee for discussion before approval by the full library. We'll type it up and clean it up. All right. That and the communication tools, any other discussions around this amendment?
So the other thing is the document storage. The completed library director evaluation shall be kept in the personnel file of the individual library director. The files are kept with the Sumner County personnel records. We don't have an HR anymore. So we need to, as of right now, I think that it's just gonna have to be with the chair of the library board.
Okay.
Because as of right now, we don't have any place to store these documents. Because at the time we have an HR, so we don't.
where are those records stored? Like former records, they've got to be somewhere.
That's
You
something
know.
that we need to, that as,
Well,
I
maybe
will
we need
find
to
out.
find
from the
out,
chair,
and if
but
they're
at
still
the time-
keeping records, which they have to, you know, I'm sure that they've got a record somewhere that it could go in a file or in their folder.
Well, the good news is there have been no previous director evaluations, so they're sort of nowhere.
Very, very valid.
So we're not missing any, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
The files are kept with the Sumner County personnel records. I would just say, the completed library director should kept in the personnel file of the individual library director, and then just cancel out the files are kept with the Sumner County personnel records, because as of right now, like, I have no idea where those are at, and if that needs to be changed, we can contact legal before next week, because again, if we don't have a HR department.
So it's something like that, that last sentence be amended to, the files are to be maintained by the chair of the library board.
Or we just take that out and just say the completed library evaluation shall be kept in the personnel file, I guess.
The individual library director,
Wherever that is.
wherever that
We need
may
to
be,
establish.
in the vast
Yeah, that
universe.
nature.
We need to establish
Or
that.
in the space-time.
Sure, so with the library, the chair of the library board at this time, and then if we need to amend it, next week, we'll amend it.
Okay,
So, yeah,
okay,
sounds good to me.
all right. So we have 3 amendments on this, anything else?
The library director evaluation policy, we had said, I know that we have so many subjects. Do we want to keep all of these subjects in here? There were several that didn't really apply.
Yeah, because we were hitting not applicable for a few things.
In this case, I would say we should do this after our last completed
True.
Sounds good to me.
survey, or last completed assessment survey.
That
While
way
the
that does
process
stay the same.
might look different, the parameters, the KSAs are
Yeah.
evaluated the same.
Okay.
Reevaluate the top,
Say again?
reevaluate the top year with all of them.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll make a motion to adopt the director evaluation policy as amended and move it to the full library board for a vote for adoption.
Okay. Is there a second?
I second that.
Okay. Motion is made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Thank you, good people. All right.
Okay.
We did it, Mom, we did it.
Nice. All right. Moving on to new business. Item A is the director evaluation of Amy Corbett. Amy, come on down. Nailing it. There's no big wheel to spin, no prizes.
I've already been to
I know.
the practice site. It's
Yeah,
okay.
I think you were
I've had
a
the
good player.
experience.
All right, perfect.
Really? Like, really?
For the big wheel?
Cool.
No, but I've been there.
That's awesome.
Any prizes
I wasn't sure if anybody had these, so I printed out copies of my CV. I don't know how to pass things out.
Okay, there you go.
Okay.
Yes, thank you.
All right. All right, so we've done this for 3 other directors at this point, but hopefully seeing how this goes. And, so we'll open it up for questions. Anything you'd like to say to start us off?
I think I can answer all the questions.
All right, awesome. Well, the first question, and I've asked everybody else, and I will now ask you, so there should be no surprises. Tell me about the goals you've set for this year and your process and progress and
I got you.
nailed it. Awesome.
I'm a visual learner, and so I just assume everybody else is a visual learner, so I hand out visual aids.
That is one of the benefits of
Being the
number
third
4.
and
That helps, right?
Yeah, number 4.
Those correct. All right, tell us about this, Amy.
Okay, so I have worked in corporate America and I've worked in nonprofit America. That's how I kind of differentiate in my brain.
Okay.
And how we measure and value goals and metrics are very different. Because for a library, we're not worried about parts that we have sold. And so what we track is probably a little different. Well, I know it's very different than what we tracked when I was in a for-profit environment. So I picked out the 4 trackable units that we use in the library to determine our goals, which we hope are always reasonable and achievable.
There you go. Yeah.
And so library cards added. So in the top left, you can see this is fiscal year 21-22, so that's the year before I started. The growth of library cards added. Fiscal year 22-23, I started October of 22. So after the first quarter, I was there. And then last fiscal year, it is the increase in library cards, and then I gave the first quarter increase, and so that gives us a really good look at where we'll be getting to for this entire fiscal year. In the bottom left-hand corner is the actual numbers of library cards added per year. I try to keep everything color-coded because it makes my brain happy. And then the really hopefully achievable goals are on the right bottom corner, and we're hoping for a 6% increase of library cards added this year, and then we're hoping for an 8% increase in library cards added next year. And we do it all by fiscal year because it's too complicated to keep up with too many different years. And then one of the other things that we track for our metric is the circulation of the collection. Is it relevant? Is it being used? It's not always good to have books if it's not being used. So you can see again, it's the same layout as the last layout. I would like to point out that December 25th, 2022, the library had a pipe burst and we flooded, and we were closed for a month. So we reopened January 25th of 23, and so that explains why the growth of our circulation was a little bit lower than we had anticipated.
Sure.
It did take a few more months for people to start coming back regularly. And then our goals.
Great.
Please don't ask me to explain the math, because percentage math is...
Really good. Maybe you have a book on percentage math.
I have a great team that's really good at math.
There you go.
Smart.
And then one of the biggest metrics that we check out is library visitors, people coming to the library. This includes, again, the same. I tried to show that before I got there, the one I started to today, because it just felt the most cohesive. We're just growing. I added our population of the city of Millersville versus the 22 census, so you can see that last year we had 11,593 people visit our library. The population of Millersville is 6,299.
Was that one person that just visited 11,000 times?
Yeah, it was me.
Right. Catch yourself clicking in one time, right?
I wish I had thought about that.
Yeah, right.
That makes my numbers look really
Yeah. Well, next level.
Thanks, I like it. Gonna take note of that.
Yeah.
And then our program attendance, as you heard, this is something that we have been working and striving to increase because it's something that people have told us they want. And I feel that we've achieved that. Well, for our goal, and then we're working on bigger and better.
Yeah. Awesome. It's great. It's fantastic. Yeah. Quick, and I'm genuinely just curious. Do we have an idea of, because I know it's visitors, it's twice the population of Millersville. Do we have an idea of the population you serve?
So the service area is, I wrote it down, so I have to remember, it's on the page, it's 12,000. It might be a little bit higher than that, but from the paperwork I could find, the service population of Millersville set by the library board was 12,000.
Totally get that. I'm sorry. I think what I mean is, I guess there's really no way to know. If we are, so using that number, against the number of people who've come in, that would be somewhere, 95% of everybody in Millersville has come in, and that's probably not the case. But do we know how many?
So I know that we have great patrons that come and visit us from Greenbrier and Ridgetop because we're the closest library to them, and they're Robertson County. so they're not counted in this, and the other half of Millersville isn't counted in these numbers because these are Sumner County numbers.
Yeah.
And then we have people come up from Goodlettsville, we have people come down from White House because when they have programs, we're not, and vice versa, and then we're open a day that
And
they're closed.
part of White House is in
part of-
Robertson County.
And part of White House is in
Yeah,
Robertson
right.
County. So these were the best numbers that I could come up with,
Awesome.
that I
Like
could justify what they were.
No, awesome, thanks, Amy.
I do have a question.
Yeah.
Quickly. On the library cards added, I could be reading this wrong. The 5.5% were added,
An increase from the prior fiscal year.
and so is it 152 were added? Is that what it is?
Yes.
Okay, okay. All right.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
All right, we'll turn your attention now, again, to the evaluation proper. It's going to be page 2. Everybody's got Amy's staff survey, right?
So, yeah, there's.
Yeah, the self-rating. So again, just definition of rating terms: 5 has been outstanding, 4 highly effective, 3 effective, 2 needs improvement, 1 unacceptable, needs substantial improvement, or 0 or non-applicable to this situation. So with that, and I'll just remind everybody that on page 3 at the top, there's a line item continuing on preparing and managing the budget. We're getting better at it too.
Right.
Fourth one, right. Open to discussion, thoughts?
As far as the budget, I don't see any problems with, to my knowledge, I don't have any problems. Everything's been covered, and I don't think there's been really lacking anything.
Okay. Any objections to 5s?
That's great.
All right, professional awareness. I don't want to read all this. We have all this in front of us. We'll take a second to go over those.
Are we managing staff?
Oh, did I
Managing staff.
miss that? I did.
Yeah,
Look at me.
good.
Rushing right ahead. Managing the staff. You have those in front of you. Amy, by all means, do you have any comments on managing the staff? Anything you'd like to add in there?
We have a fantastic group, and I love the people I get to work with because we all have the same goal.
Okay.
I wouldn't say I'm a little partial. I am from Millersville, and I get to see them often, but I love the staff. We have a wonderful staff.
Have you had to hire anybody in this last year?
I have.
Okay.
I have.
How'd that go for you?
Feel very well.
Smooth process for you? You get a process that works well?
Hiring is never a smooth process.
Okay.
But I use the guidelines set out by the board, and we do interviews and staff meets, and I feel that it goes as smoothly as possible when it can.
Okay.
Have you had to terminate anybody this year?
I have accepted someone's resignation effective immediately.
Okay, so there wasn't a termination.
There is an acceptance of a resignation immediately, yes.
How'd that go for you?
I mean, I notified the staff members, filled out the paperwork, and did the best that I could.
Okay. I mean, any challenges on your side or her side?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. Not a trick question. I'm asking you, were there any issues on your end? You would know, I would not.
I received a 2-week notice, and I accepted it immediately.
Okay, so they gave 2 weeks notice, but you said, how about we just
There were a lot of,
part today?
there were going to be some scheduling conflicts coming up, and
Gotcha.
it was the process.
Okay. Yeah, so made a judgment call to make it immediate. Okay. All right, ideas of scores and anything?
Nothing
Discussion.
jumps out.
Are there any grievances that have been filed with you?
None that I'm aware of.
So we can put a non-NA there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Is that the second one?
Uh-huh.
How does your training go? The new employee, how'd that go?
I think trainings are fun. We have a handbook that we work through. We've got a checklist of everything we do, and then, so for example, our children's librarian takes over and goes and explains the children's department. I say I love training because I learn new things, and then I get to make the training handbook better and better and better. And I wanted to do the best I can with the people that I get to work with.
Understand scores?
I'm fine with 5. Always great.
Well, I did notice on your self-evaluation, better communication or something.
Thank you. I noticed that too with the staff somewhere.
I would like to adopt a more holistic approach to leadership, so prioritizing training in management.
Under the second question, yeah. I was just showing you where it was.
And I noticed you put a 4 is clear on personnel decisions. And I would think, would that be under communicate with library personnel as appropriate, or, clear on personnel decisions. So,
Maybe we do a 4 on the first one, the clear and well communicated management, that way, it's the room to grow, since she already sees that room to grow.
I think that was that.
A rating of effective, for that, or highly effective? Okay. Mr. Stiles, any other comments on managing the staff before we move on? All right. Professional awareness, some of the lengthier sections, rather.
Prepares reports and compiles statistical data as needed. We have that in our hands right now.
I make a pretty spreadsheet.
Yeah.
You really do.
I appreciate it.
I've always enjoyed,
Yeah.
I'm a visual learner as well.
So in order to do that, you know how to operate. You're good with technology. So that your technology awareness or advances are shown right there too.
Implement and monitor library procedures and policies developed by the library board. As you know, we had a collection development policy that was implemented last year. And I do know that Eric and I visited you and you had signs up for permission slips for going into the adult section. And, you know, we had expressed that really isn't the policy that we had created. Have you since then taken down those signs?
Yes, we don't have any signs about that.
Okay, and so you had stated in an email that you were going to keep it at the front desk. Has that been taken down?
Yes, we have finally finished the full evaluation of the collection.
Okay, great.
So what's your recommendation there?
I would say a 4.
Other thoughts? Okay. Any others we want to pull out? Say again?
5's everywhere.
I was going to ask the same. Anybody else have anything else they want to pull out?
I think it's good.
Okay.
I do want to say, just in a positive note, that is precise and concise with reports at the library board meetings. Since we have had to put the timing on there, unfortunately, I think that you've done a really great job of really well, first of all, your visuals are great. It does help us see, but you highlight it really well, and it lets us celebrate those things with you. So I appreciate how you have worked with that.
I practice with the timer before I come.
Oh,
I try to put it all in.
Well, we appreciate it. We appreciate you sharing the good news and the reports. So thank you.
I know not everyone is super psyched about that, but it really does
It
help us.
is what it is, so we're just going to work within those parameters. Keep on going.
Course collection development. I think the first line item might be a 4, reflecting the previous comment.
I do have a question. Is that implementing that collection development policy, did you find any hurdles? Were there any obstacles? Or how was that implemented and how's it going?
We did the best implementing with your collection development policies with the limited guidance that we were provided.
And so when you say limited, what do you feel was so limited?
There weren't any instructions on how we were supposed to do it. It needs to be done, but there weren't any instructions on, okay, well, we're going to give you 30 days to review the collection, or if you have, if you aren't sure if your height requirements, there wasn't any practical assistance that I felt.
And feeling there was some practical assistance, because I do believe that is actually in the collection development policy, because the state law actually is very detailed on that. Is there a reason why you didn't reach out to us for questions?
I reached out to the library board when I did have questions.
Okay. And what questions were those?
I don't think I had any. It just took us a while.
Okay, so you didn't have questions.
If I had questions, I would have reached out to the library board.
Okay. And I just, in you saying that you didn't have good guidance, I would think that if you didn't have good guidance, you would reach, because you said we would be available for any questions. So, but you just didn't feel that you needed to reach out, even though you were unclear?
I figured it out. Yes, thank you.
Well, and I mean, just to say on that note, on a personal note, I stop in pretty often. I stopped in officially and checked in with you. I asked if you had any questions. Everything was going smoothly any time that I checked in with you about that. And even talking to the person, your collections person that was going through a lot of that, and talked with her about that too. Everything seemed to be going smoothly. So, I mean, I'm glad you figured it out. And we did make ourselves personally available. So I'm sorry to hear that there's a way you're wording that. I just want to make sure you know that we are here for you, and we've asked how we could support.
There were some extenuating circumstances that weren't, the timing was really poorly, and so as soon as we were able to get everything taken care of, we did.
Okay.
You took some leave. Got it.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah. That's right. Okay. So yes, okay, thank you.
And I know that you and I both asked and everything, so, yeah.
Which, on that note, we're always here for you.
Yeah.
We're always here.
I have everybody's number.
You do. Okay, good. Thanks.
Other scores of collection development?
Have you had any challenges? No challenges.
I think the only comment that I would put in there is that, she's she had stated that she thought that the policy was not clear, yet didn't reach out with any questions when from the library board.
Okay, so maybe Director Angel's challenges in a timely manner. I mean, if we weren't getting feedback and they needed help, the challenge, would that be effective or?
Well, is that book challenges or any challenge? Is that like?
Well, as she,
collection.
as she
collection
stated, she felt that
development.
the collection development policy wasn't clear, yet was limited, and yet she didn't reach out with any questions when we asked her how it was going, but now it's getting as though it was a challenge. You know, even with the library board checking in and asking if she had any questions. So I would maybe put in there that asking the library board for support when unclear might be a challenge for her. Does that make sense?
That maybe the comment is we encourage maybe to use the library book as a resource when unclear. You know, keep the dialogue open. Not mind readers, obviously.
Correct.
Though I played one once. You know, in helping you, achieve the goals of that you establish for your library and the policies that we pass. Cool.
Yep. So how are we scoring these?
Yeah. How
For the second one, what is that score?
I would put 3 under that one. Just because it was a year later and we didn't know that there was challenges. So I put a 3.
All right.
We
So
haven't had, I'm sorry, I'm confused. Could you clarify that? We haven't had any book challenges.
I think
Yeah,
we're
this
talking
is
two different types
collection
of
development,
challenges.
yeah.
I don't know, we're talking about book challenges with the collection development policy.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. All right, still effective? A rating of effective? Okay.
Figured it out.
Any objections, concerns to that? Okay. The remainder, under collection development, 5?
I'm fine with that.
Implementation of board decisions, section 5, implemented on a timely basis.
I would say 3 with that one.
Okay.
As the collection development.
Director displays initiative,
Yeah.
objective in making necessary decisions, consistent in decisions that affect the staff and or the public, implements board decisions, let's say under implements board decisions, highly effective, sets an example for the staff, professional conduct, type principles, and a business-like approach. Is there a reason to not have a 5 then? All right, use of the library.
Actually, I do want to say, I do think you display a lot of initiative, and that is something that I see that you do very well.
Awesome. Use of the library, services to the public, communicate those services to the public. Proper realistic balance to maintain between promotion of services and budget constraints. Circulation trends, information about new services, comparison news releases, notices, library publications, response to public inquiries and complaints. Have you had any public inquiries or complaints? No? Okay.
Which one is NA?
That's the last one.
The last
Your box
one.
six.
So 5 down.
Yeah, I would. Okay, just crushing that. Development of staff is one that also continues on to page 7. Anything that needs to be pulled out there?
Do you have a succession plan in place?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. Everything still good there?
Okay. Staff aware of the separation, utilization of staff. I don't have to read it, you guys can read. Any issues? Anything to pull out? Check.
mentioned, she has done her peak hour, as evidenced in our email. She's done a peak hour survey and is working very hard to, you know, meet the needs of the patrons
Great.
and the staff.
All right.
You know, and of course, your staff has to be on board to do this too. So.
Okay. Community development? Nice job. Obviously,
Yes.
you're well.
And
Obviously,
Love
yeah.
to appreciate it.
so thrilled, also as a Millersville person, but also on the board, to see how you have been able to develop that relationship between the community center and you guys. And I love the convenience of, with them being just across the street. It is such a cool, partnership.
Yeah.
Thank you. I couldn't find the word. Yes. And I think it's so neat that y'all get to highlight each other too. And, but yes, so all under that.
Even just finding needs within the community need to be met, like food. I love that
Mhm.
so much, so thank you.
And I have a curiosity question. How do you source that? Just out of curiosity.
Donations.
So is it, just the patrons just know about it and they bring it? Do you have a groups that do it?
Patrons do bring stuff.
Mhm.
I supply things. We put out calls on our Facebook page when we put a call out the other day because we don't have anything.
Mhm.
And it's all community driven. I am working with the church across the street that uses the community center on Sundays. I'm working to establish a partnership with them.
Yeah.
But we're just doing the best we can.
Okay. And is that saying, I mean, like, do you have a huge need for that as a person of the community? Can I,
It's difficult to keep them.
okay. No, I'm glad to know that so I can help with that. Okay.
Right. Section 10, activity in professional organizations. Communicates and participates in professional organizations as appropriate. I know you did the Red River training, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Are you is it May? Are you going to be completing that?
Mhm.
Good. Yay. Congrats. It's a lot of work. Thank you.
All right. Section 11, policy recommendations to the board.
Those are NA. Those are
That'd
NA.
be my question, unless Amy had any other thoughts. Any, is that accurate? NAs?
Yes, sir.
Okay. 12, Friends of the Library. There's a one typo up there. Friends of
Well, we had to,
Donation.
yeah, the president of Friends is here, so.
That one indented one is on page 9 is an NA, but the rest of
Director
them.
takes the library board up.
No.
The
Friends,
first one.
Friends group has
Yeah.
the one that's
Yeah.
oddly indented.
Otherwise, we're fine.
I think so.
Okay. 13, maintenance and construction of the physical library. Sounds like everybody loves doing Millersville.
I don't think there's any new or remodeled facilities. We haven't had any new or remodeled facilities
We have future,
constructed.
we have future desires.
I know, but we haven't in the last year, correct?
Not in the past year.
Correct, yeah, so that would be an
The next time.
So those are 2 NAs,
So, yeah, Q&A.
Which was the other one?
the one right above it. So numbers 3,
Ongoing program that
numbers
provides
3 and 4.
To
Under
third and
third.
fourth one.
The new
Okay.
and remodeled facilities are functioning appropriately.
Yeah,
Is that
13.
what you're saying?
You're
Okay.
saying that, me, I'm sorry.
Nothing else,
And five on everything
Yeah.
else.
14, home stretch, establishing priorities.
I think
The
she,
community needs his nail.
yes. And advanced planning,
Yeah.
really great at advanced planning.
And then we've got a separate page, short and long, you know, the goals, the short and long, and,
Yeah, NNA would be, because we haven't really went over the short and long-term planning with her. We actually budget with you, you talked about a construction plan, but, we didn't really get into short and long term.
I received the capital funds and we're gonna start construction mid-November.
Yeah, that's right, because you were the one that,
Did the,
got the,
Yeah.
plan.
chair.
Yeah. Right.
Any otherwise, others are,
Okay.
is it fine?
Number 4 would be an NA.
Yes.
Okay.
And that's just because we didn't establish that with you.
Yeah.
So you can't accomplish something we haven't established. So that's on us. So it's
And our city policy and
directed.
Yeah, I got it. Okay.
Heading to section 15.
I don't see any problems there at all.
Anybody else?
I think you do great. I'm actually interested in seeing your book. I want to see what you do when you get your training. I want to see your book. I'm just curious.
Maybe the last section I'm going to give you is the signature page. We'll type it up and make it
Are there any
pretty.
comments that we need to?
All right, yeah, we'll open up for any comments as well.
No, I think the comments mainly are on 1s and 2s for the most part.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't have to.
Yep.
And we just made a few little notations throughout the,
Yep.
so at the end.
Great, thanks.
We're in November now.
Yeah.
Are you the jinx it? So,
It's
yeah.
actually November.
I can't really.
Please, I'll speak for myself a minute. Thank you, thank your staff for being good stewards of, the library and obviously for loving on the community that clearly loves you back. Thank you. Yeah,
Thank you so much.
appreciate it.
Appreciate it. So I'll make a motion to accept the personnel evaluation of Dean Corbett as is and move on to the library board for full adoption.
I'll second.
Jackie?
Check seconded.
Mhm.
Motion made and seconded to accept the evaluation of Director Amy Corbett and send it on to the full board for approval. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The abstentions? Great, motion carries.
Thank you
Thanks so much, Amy. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
All right. Next up, we have one item, second item of new business, and that's scheduling a director evaluation for Lauren Rickey of Westmoreland.
Would like to know, Kaylee, if you're available.
I'm available.
Yeah, I already asked her.
That will be
They hit me up before. Okay,
November 11 at 4:30.
at 4:30, yeah.
Because we have more in here. So it was really, so 12:11 at 4:30.
4:30?
We were able to ask Lauren.
Yeah, Lauren was here too.
Yay.
Lauren's good. All above board, so great.
Yes.
Fantastic. And that will take us to Kaylee's favorite part of the meeting.
Okay, go, y'all. I make a motion to adjourn this meeting. I second it.
Motion is made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Meeting adjourned. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys for coming.
Yes,
Truly,
thank you.
truly.